Hi guys, this is Edwin Nash from MassBarbell Gym in West Boylston, and this is everything you need to know to get started in single ply benching. So in the USAPL and the IPF, the only type of equipped powerlifting that is allowed is single ply benching, which is one layer of polyester material that you can use for your supportive equipment. There's many different brands of single ply equipment. The only three that are allowed in the IPF and the USAPL are Inzer, Titan, and then the new Oni bench shirts that are from Japan. Those are the only ones you'll see at a USAPL meet or an IPF meet or any of their affiliates. So the main difference between raw lifting and equipped lifting is that you're wearing supportive gear. In the bench press specifically, you wear a bench shirt with your singlet. The bench shirt allows you to lift more weight, but the drawback is it takes more skill to use and it adds another facet of technique to your lifting experience on meet day and in training. So the most common question people have when they go to buy their bench shirt is what size they need to have. What size will fit their body. So I'm usually a Titan guy myself. I use a size 44 for training, and then I use a size 40 in a meet. Now everybody needs to know how to measure your body to figure out what size you need to find on the chart. The way Titan does it, they have you measure across your chest, under your armpits. So if you can find a sewing tape or even a string and then measure it out on a straight yardstick, you just need to find the measurement directly under your armpits across your chest, all the way around. And that correlates 1-to-1 on the size chart on the Titan website on what size you should buy, 40, 42, 44, 46. The only concern that some people have is whether or not their arms are going to fit in the sleeves. What I've found personally is the sleeve size isn't as difficult to get into as most people would think. If there's a will, there's a way. My size 44 shirt fits my 16.5-inch arms quite loose, and that it makes the shirt a little bit easier to use for a first-time user. The 40 shirt is made for a person with 15.5-inch arms, which is an inch smaller than mine, but I'm still able to get my arms into the shirt without much difficulty. People who should find these shirts useful are people who have some experience in powerlifting. That's not to deter anyone who hasn't competed before or is just new to training. These can be a great way to introduce yourself to a new style of powerlifting that isn't quite on the raw side. Most people would say that you should train for years before getting into the equipment. In other countries that are members of the IPF, their younger lifters get into the equipment, and this is the only type of powerlifting that they know. There are some risks that come with equipped lifting because you are handling more than 100% of your raw max, what you can physically handle without the supportive equipment. A good train of thought is that the equipment does provide some support to your joints, the more vulnerable parts of your body that can get injured during lifting. One major drawback to lifting equipped, and especially with the bench shirt, is the need for help to get the bench shirt on. A lot of people find it very difficult to get on a tight bench shirt by yourself, so you really need your training partners to come with you. And not everybody has access to training partners, whether you're at a commercial gym or especially in your garage gym or just around a gym that people don't really know much about that style of lifting. Being at a gym like MassBarbell, where everybody's supportive about everybody else's style of lifting, has been completely beneficial, especially to me, to help me progress and be able to train efficiently and safely. So I always use Titan Support Systems single ply bench shirts. They have a few options, and some are for more advanced lifters and some are for more experienced lifters. depending on which variety of shirt you buy from them. Their bench shirts are the Titan Fury, the F6, the Katana, and the Super Katana. I personally wear the Super Katana in training and in the meet because I feel it provides the most support and the most assistance during my lifts. The only drawback to that is it takes the most technique and experience to use. There are differences between bench shirts in the same class. The Super Katana comes in a straight sleeve and it comes in an angled sleeve. In the angled sleeve, the sleeve is angled 45 degrees down, and it's made for people with a larger bench arch or a larger torso in general. The straight sleeve comes out 90 degrees from the chest plate, and it's for more flat back lifters. 95% of people would go with the angled sleeve because the straight sleeve just won't work for most people. Also within each bench shirt class, there's differences in the collars that you can find. This is the regular collar, the regular low cut Super Katana collar, and this is the super low cut Super Katana collar. I personally use the regular low cut because I like the shirt to sit a little bit higher. It's a little bit easier to touch. It fits my range of motion a little bit better. A lot of bigger people or people with extreme arches like to use the super low cut because they feel it gives them more pop off the chest, even if it is a little bit harder to control while it's down closer to your body. I'm just gonna take a minute here to get my raw warm-ups in, and then I'm gonna put on the shirt. So generally, when I get into an equipped session with my bench shirt, I warm up raw up to 85 to 90% of my raw 1 rep max. And I just follow the normal rep scheme. 1 plate, 185, 225, 275, 315. And then I put on the shirt and I use my first set in the shirt just to get it set where I'd like to of my arms, in my armpits, the length of the chest plate. Now that we've gone over all of this, let's see what it's like to get one of these shirts on. So first thing I'm gonna show you is how to put the bench shirt on by yourself, which is much more difficult if you don't have a partner available or you're in your home gym. This is the way you're gonna wanna have to put your shirt on. It's a lot harder with tighter shirts, but it can always be done one way or the other. So the first thing you wanna do with your shirt, have it right side out. You wanna take the bottom and fold the shirt in half up to the armpits of the sleeves. So you fold the bottom half of the shirt inside out. So it's like this. Second thing, you want to start with one arm, put it in the sleeve, get the sleeve as high as you can, put your arm in the other sleeve, get that one as high as you can. So you're in this position here. Then you want to take your thumbs, put the head hole over your head, and work your shoulders into where they're supposed to be in the shirt. Doing this, you put a lot of pressure to pull your sleeves higher and higher each way. Now, because we folded the shirt under, we can quickly grab the bottom of the shirt and start to pull it down around ourselves. If you didn't fold up the shirt, it would get snagged and folded up underneath your torso. This makes it a lot easier to pull it down around your body. Once you're at this point, you still see a little seam across your chest. You take both hands, try to grab the bottom of the shirt, just squeeze your shoulders together and pull down. Now, the way you know if you got your sleeves high enough is if your elbow point is past the end of the sleeve, like that. And you can make fine adjustments with the height of the collar, the depth of the sleeves on your arms. What a lot of people like to do to get the sleeves more into their armpit is come over the bar like this Don't use the knurling because that'll start to wear out the material. Put your armpit onto the bar while putting pressure with this arm out, and you start to swing your arm like this. And that starts to work the sleeve up into your armpit. And that's how you put the bench shirt on by yourself. Next, I'm going to show you what it's like to put the bench shirt on with a partner or a friend. So now I'm going to show you guys how to put the shirt on if you have a helper. So the first thing I want to do is I don't have to worry about folding the shirt over since I have someone else to help me pull it down around my body. I put one arm through as high as it'll go. Through the other side, I put my other arm as far as it'll go. Now I can have a partner help get the shirt over my head. Now what he's going to do is he's going to unroll the torso of the shirt around my body so I don't have to mess with my arms trying to pull it around. You just keep your arms up and you let the shirt fall around you as far as it'll go. He's going to give a quick tug to the front just to get the shirt down. And now what he's going to do to help me get my sleeves up is he's going to grab right here. He's going to pull that way, and I'm going to swing my arm to help get the sleeve past my elbow. That's good. And that's going to be the same thing on the other side. You give it a quick punch, and it'll slide right up your arm. He's just going to straighten out the torso so it's even. And that's how you can have a friend help you get into your bench shirt if you're lucky enough to not be alone. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is some floating reps with just 405, which is roughly 75% of my 1 rep max in the shirt. And I'm just doing this to get the shirt seated the way I like it and help the sleeves come up my arm more. And I have my friend Davis here. He's going to help me with handoffs. I set up on the bench with my shoulders pinched back together, my hands max grip. Give me a count. 3, 2, 1. Good. Stabilize the weight. So the reasoning behind doing the floating reps, a lot of people like to use boards. I personally don't like to use the board because it gives me something to spring off of once I'm down on the board. And a lot of people have a tendency to flop and lose all of their tightness through their torso once they reach the board. So that's why I like doing the floating reps. That way I can just keep going down in a natural motion until I feel that the shirt won't allow me to go anymore at that weight for the tightness of the shirt that I'm wearing. So one mistake I see a lot of people make when they're using their bench shirt is that they try to come too far straight down with their elbows flared. That happens a lot when the collar is way too low for either their strength level or the weight that they're using. And it causes the chest plate to compress lower on their chest, almost below their pecs, which gives you a straight line of motion. But what happens with that is if the weight is over the chest plate and you're coming down, it almost pushes your body away from you as the weight comes down, which makes it a lot harder to touch. While you might get more pop off the chest, you have more of a tendency to pop it straight up with your elbows still tucked, and you get jammed up and can't finish with the weight over your face and flare your arms. Personally, I like the collar a little bit higher, and I have the chest plate right above my pecs. And when I come down at an angle with that force like this. And that helps me drive the weight up and back at the same time, which helps me carry it over to my triceps when I flare. And I can finish with a lockout that's closer to my eye line or my nose line, and it prevents me from getting locked up when I'm trying to finish my bench. Good. As you can see, this weight is still a little bit too light for me to touch, but since I'm doing the floating reps, the motion is almost going to be identical to when I have more weight, and I'll just get more pop off the chest, and I'll be able to do more weight at the same speed. Another problem I see with a lot of new lifters when they first put on the bench shirt is that they have a problems retracting their scaps and keeping their chest big. So you almost want to shimmy your shoulders down and back, put those lats in the back pocket to really open up that chest plate, and you want to keep it there the whole time through the whole rep. As soon as you start to let your shoulders round forward, you lose all that tension across the chest. So ideally, you want to keep that chest high and tight the whole time as you're coming down, and that way you don't lose tension and you can get more explosion off the chest, and the weight will carry up higher with assistance from the shirt. This rep, I'm going to touch the weight, and hopefully I can press it out and finish with it over my face on the triceps. Oh, shit. Come on. Good. Press. Nice. And that's pressing in a single ply bench shirt. One problem that a lot of people have is getting the bench shirt off after you've lifted in it training or in a meet. Your arms tend to swell a lot between lifts, especially during your session. So it can be a lot harder to get the shirt off after you've already put it on, even if the sleeves went on nice and easy. So I'm going to show you how to, my method of taking the bench shirt off after you've completed your session or your meet and by yourself. So I just first take my belt off. My next step is to get the torso of the shirt over my head and my head out of the head wall. So I just grab the shirt both sides like this. I try to come around my arms, pull it up as high as I can, keep scooping it up so my head's out of the hole. Then I take the shirt and I try to fold it completely inside out over my arms. And this is where a lot of people find that it's the hardest to take off the shirt, is once you get it to this point on your elbow, where the sleeves are super tight. So what I do is I make two fists. I come down on the bench with my fists. I take my knee and I put it on the collar of the shirt. It shouldn't hurt the shirt because that's where the majority of the force is anyways when you bench. And I just press down with my body weight to get good leverage, and you get one out, and you can pull the other one out. Fairly easy. And then you should be all set. You just turn your shirt right side out, and you can pack it away for the next session. Thanks again, guys, for watching the video on single ply benching. If you have any more questions, you can send a DM to MassBarbell's Instagram page or visit us in person. And remember to always have fun, lift safe, and keep getting stronger.